Hey guys, my name's Gloria and welcome back to my channel, or welcome me back to my channel because I haven't been here in quite a while. If you watched my last video, you might know why. I'm going to talk a little bit just very quickly at the end and explain what I've been doing the last few months for anyone who cares, is interested, or just plain nosy, which is fine also. So I'll be talking about that a few minutes at the end. But first of all, I want to talk about the horrortube anthology that's been put together by Regina over at Regina's Haunted Library. And I think Steve as well. I'm not entirely sure of all the details, I'm sorry. And maybe also a couple of books that I've read recently. Dune. I'll talk about Dune just because it's what I've been doing. I watched both movies, read a few of the books, so I'll talk about that for a few minutes if anyone's interested. But first of all, so there is a horrortube anthology, another one. There was one that came out last year, I think, and it was great. It had a lot of active booktubers submit short stories to be in it, and all of the money went to a children's literacy charity. And this one, which is called Served Cold, is interesting, particularly to me, because one of my stories is going to be in it. I'm sure you've probably heard of it already. I know the Nihilist Geek is in it, I think, and also Murs from Harpers in the Trees, and a load of other great booktubers and writers and stuff. But my story is also going to be in it as well, and it's my first time ever having anything published anywhere, which is huge. It's fantastic, and I can't wait to read the full anthology and read everyone else's stories. I'm going to leave the link down below in the description. You can pre-order it now. I think it's coming out on the 11th of December, and we would all be very grateful if you did that, if you could do that. There's going to be some great stories in there. Mine is a kind of a ghost story. I don't really know how to describe it, but I will hopefully be doing a video on just sort of how I came up with the idea for it, how I went about writing it, and why it's sort of not special to me, but it is sort of I'm glad that it's the first story of mine to get published. It's a good marker for me, I think anyway. And I'll be talking about my favourite stories in the collection as well from other booktubers, because I'm sure there's going to be fantastic ones just like there were for the last one, so you should definitely check that one out. I haven't done a lot of reading in the last few months, but because the Dune movie was coming out, I decided to read a bit of Dune. I watched the new movie. If you haven't seen it, it is great. I thought I really liked it. There's some great actors in it, and there's some great music in it. If you see it in IMAX, it is deafening, but it's very well done, and it's much better than the 1984 movie by David Lynch, because I watched that too, and that was god awful. I vaguely heard of Dune before this movie was coming out, but I had no idea what the actual story was about or anything like that. So for anyone who doesn't know, the basic premise is it's all set thousands of years in the future. There was like a war, they call it the Butlerian Jihad, and it was when AI rose up and computers rose up and humanity had to fight against them. So in this future there's space travel, there's a huge planetary confederation, and there is fantastic technology and stuff, but they don't trust computers. They only have very sort of basic technology. They don't use any AI or anything like that. and it's sort of odd. They only really fight with swords. There is fighting and stuff like that in this. They only really fight with swords and knives and stuff. They do have like these guns, but everyone basically has these body shields that protect them from the guns, so you're gonna do probably more damage with a knife, so strange things like that. But it's following a boy called Paul Atreides and the Atreides family, and they're this sort of royal family. There is an emperor, and then there are sort of more powerful houses, and then there's like houses minor, and his family is one of the more powerful houses, and they have to go in, they have to move from their own planet, which is Caladan, which looked very Irish to me, honestly. It was just all green by the sea, lovely, and they have to go to called Arrakis, which is entirely desert. There are some indigenous people who live there, but they're very secretive and they don't like other people coming in. But obviously there's already a very tyrannical family that live there and that are trying to eradicate them, but they're being moved out, and it's a whole big political thing. There's all these spies, there's plots within plots, and everyone's trying to get at each other and everyone's trying to get power. The reason that Dune, the planet, is so immensely important is because it is the only planet in the universe that has a thing called spice melange, or just spice, and it is a substance that is hallucinogenic. It allows the members of the guild to be able to sort of see into the future, or see into the pathways of the universe, to know which is the safest way to get to another planet. It's not really explained very well, but it allows them to travel through space, and without this spice all the planets would be completely cut off from each other again. But there's a whole lot more to it as well. But Paul Atreides is the son of this family. He wasn't supposed to be born a son. His mother, who's part of this holy, the Bene Gesserit regime, I don't know what to call it, was told to only bear daughters because they have this like 1,000-year breeding plan in place where they're trying to mix the exact correct DNA to bring about the Messiah who's going to lead humans into a better future. So Paul has sort of accidentally become that, and he has these powers, he has these dreams of the future, and he kind of he's the chosen one. He knows things he's not supposed to know, he picks up things really quickly, that kind of thing. So the book writing was fine, it was grand. It was a little bit repetitive, but I think that it was originally published in like small volumes, like in like, I don't know if it was a magazine or something, so that kind of made sense to me, but it was a little bit repetitive. It's all very subtext and more subtext. Not that it's like overly complicated to read, but all of the characters, when you're in their head, are all trying to read the several layers of subtext that everyone else has going on. The first book is quite long, and the new 2021 movie is just the first half of that book. The 1984 movie made the mistake of trying to put the entire book into one movie, and the book spans like years, so it just doesn't work. And in the middle of the movie they just sort of flash up Paul kissing the love interest and saying, oh, by the way, they're still together years later, even though she barely speaks, you barely see her. Like, what is going on? The new movie is very good. The books are fine, but they're very long-winded, and the character of Paul Atreides, for me, had very little substance, and I get why he had a little substance. He very quickly succumbs to these supernatural powers and becomes like this all-knowing being who can just... He's like a human computer, they say. He can basically just figure all this stuff out. And very quickly, even, he says to himself that he isn't feeling emotions like the people around him. Like, people are dying and he knows he should feel emotions, but he just doesn't. So just very quickly, you're just like, okay, whatever. But the books were fine. The 2 books after that, God, I can't even remember what the second book was about. Actually, genuinely can't remember what the second book was about. But yeah, there's 6 books in total. It very quickly goes on to like Paul's children and the thousands of years into the future after that and everything. I don't think I'll be reading the last 3 books because I'm just kind of done with it now. Only watch the 1984 movie if you have a lot of time, because it is quite long and the pacing isn't great. And the CGI is just fantastic. But Patrick Stewart runs into battle with a pug strapped to his chest, which is not in the books. It's not in the new movie. Don't know where they came up with that, why he would do that to a pug, but there you go. It happened. Sting is in it for some reason. The Baron Harkonnen, the sort of bad guy in it, in the 1984 movie, is so disgusting, so horrifically grotesque. It made me want to be sick. He's still quite bad in the new movie, but in the 1984 movie it was just like I couldn't actually look at the screen. So Dune, one of the most popular sci-fi stories of all time, which made me really sort of question sci-fi, not in a bad way, but like I always thought of science fiction being to do with technology and stuff, and there's not a lot of technology in this. And there's people who say that Star Wars isn't sci-fi, it's actually a fantasy story. So I'm like, is Dune... What makes it a sci-fi? Because it's all very like courtly, it's all, you know, people trying to poison each other, it's all political espionage and people using swords, and I'm just like, what exactly makes it sci-fi? I'm not sure. If you know the definition or the difference, please let me know. So yeah, that's one of the things I've been doing recently. You should definitely go see the movie if you haven't already. So that was all. That's all the sort of book related stuff I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for anyone who has stayed subscribed or the new subscribers. Thank you so much to anyone who commented on my previous video asking if I was okay. I'm going to talk a bit about where I've been, so feel free to click away if you're not interested in that. It's not really relevant to anyone but me. But thank you for watching so far. So where have I been? In my last video I talked about my 7.5 year relationship ending very suddenly and unexpectedly for me, and how I was devastated and I would be devastated. I guess even at the time I didn't realise how devastated I actually was. I'm not well, I haven't been well, and I don't know when I'm going to be well again. It wasn't just the the end of my relationship. Earlier this year I was diagnosed as being on the autistic spectrum, which at the time was a huge weight off my shoulders because I always knew that there was something going on in my head. I just didn't know what it was. But it turns out I still had no idea what that really meant and what it meant for me. It turns out that people on the spectrum don't do well with changes and don't do well with sudden changes. So my 7.5-year relationship ended one evening. 3 days later, he was gone and all of his stuff was gone. So someone who had been there for the last 7.5 years every single day was just gone in like a puff of smoke. He'd already given our notice to leave our apartment, so I only had a few weeks to find a place to live in Dublin, a new place to live. If I didn't find a place to live, I probably would have had to quit my job and move back in with family in Donegal. Where there is no public transport, so I wouldn't have been able to get another job. So that was incredibly stressful. Having to find a new place. I pretty much had to do everything myself, even though I was possibly moving in with 2 housemates, because their jobs weren't as flexible as mine, so they couldn't go out and view houses or like ring people and stuff. Me being autistic and very socially anxious, that was all incredibly stressful for me. I had to what else changed? I was moved to a different building and a different department in my work, which in the beginning was fine, but then very quickly devolved, and I'm barely making it into work right now, and I'm trying to work with them because of my disability, because I am technically disabled, to try and be able to work from home, but it's not looking very hopeful at the minute. So not capable of dealing with sudden changes, and every aspect of my life has changed very quickly in about a month or so. We did find a new place to live. It's significantly more expensive than my previous place, and I had to use all my savings to get here. So I am back to living paycheck to paycheck and not having money for anything. New books, but like it doesn't even matter. It's just another bit of stress, but it just yeah, everything in my life's changed. I don't like it. One thing people don't tell you about relationships ending is that, and I feel like I can't even complain about this because it is my fault, when a relationship like that ends and it is your fault, like it was entirely my fault. It was things I did and things I didn't do. It's just like, I can't complain about any of it because it was my fault, and because of that I don't like myself. I don't like how I acted, how I handled anything. And I just don't, it's very difficult to make videos or post to Instagram or just be on the internet at all when you don't like yourself. Like, I don't think anyone should click on my videos. I don't think anyone should like my Instagram posts. I don't think I'm capable of stringing together a decent book review or anything at the minute. So I just haven't been online. I haven't felt like it. So that's what I've been doing. I have been seeing a counsellor at work recently who is very helpful. His wife is also a psychologist and she has autism, so he's teaching me a lot about how it might be for me and how to deal with certain things. But I'm just not. It sounds so dramatic, but I'm not the same person that I was. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm in a nowhere land right now, and I don't know what kind of person I'm going to be when I come out of this. So I don't really feel like making videos right now. I don't know, when I post this maybe I'll feel different and I'll want to again, but yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be doing, pretty much. But I will put up another video of the Served Cold book, the horror anthology, talking about the story that I wrote and the other stories I'm going to read in that. Thank you so much to everyone who commented on my last video, and everyone who's been sort of checking in, and I'm just not really capable of replying to anyone at the minute. Even on this video, if you comment, like, I really appreciate it. I can't promise that I will read it, definitely not immediately, but I do appreciate anyone who does for any reason. Yeah, so that is that. Thank you so much for watching, if you did, and I'll see you in the next HorrorTube anthology video. Anyway,